Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking one of the absolute most fascinating mysteries unfolding in the financial world right now. We're looking at this massive, frankly, mind-boggling gap between the legislative reality happening behind closed doors in Washington, D.C., and the current market sentiment regarding a really monumental piece of legislation, the Clarity Act. To wrap our heads around this mystery, we've got to start with one specific number, 60%. Why? Because despite a major, seemingly insurmountable regulatory roadblock officially clearing on July 20th, the public market odds for this bill actually passing, they're sitting right around 40%. So mathematically speaking, the market is 60% blind to a massive impending legislative shift that's actually already well underway. And this brilliantly illustrates the core of what we're looking at today. On one hand, you have rapid, closed-door political momentum. A deal is struck, the text is circulating, and key compromises are locked in. But on the flip side, you have totally stagnant, skeptical public market data. The public is getting distracted by daily price action, completely missing the fact that the foundational rules for the entire digital asset class are literally being rewritten as we speak. Okay, let's dive into this roadmap. First, we'll break down that 60% blind spot, then we'll look at the Senate's 60-vote wall, the big July 20th agreement, how this all rewires the financial system, and finally, the looming August 7th deadline. Section 1, the 60% blind spot. Just look at the massive anomaly in the market data right now. Passage odds for the Clarity Act actually cratered to a record low of 24% in mid-July. And even today, they've only crawled back up to roughly 40%. The main roadblock has been cleared, yet the market is still treating this like it's just a coin flip. Moving to Section 2, the Senate's 60-vote wall. So what exactly was this giant Senate roadblock that froze this critical piece of legislation for months? Well, that deep freeze was actually triggered by a 2025 financial disclosure released in early July. It revealed roughly $1.4 billion in crypto-related income for Donald Trump. Breaking those numbers down, about $635 million came from a Trump meme coin, and over $500 million came from the Trump family's crypto venture, World Liberty Financial. So a grand total right around $1.4 billion. And that $1.4 billion figure became immediate political ammunition. Opposition Democrats, including Elizabeth Warren and Chris Van Hollen, pointed to these numbers to brand the Clarity Act as a flagrant, corrupt giveaway to the president and his family. As Senator Chris Murphy put it, there's no reason to pass a new crypto system if it doesn't stop Trump's corruption. Suddenly, this overlap between politics and crypto became the total, singular focus for the opposition. And honestly, this opposition was incredibly effective because of the raw legislative math. The Clarity Act literally cannot pass on Republican votes alone. To bypass the Senate filibuster, you have to have 60 votes. Republicans simply don't have 60 seats outright, which meant the bill was totally dead in the water unless they could somehow secure about 7 to 9 Democrat crossover votes. That corruption narrative built a massive 60-vote wall that just looked totally impassable. Which brings us to Section 3, the July 20th agreement. This was the shadow deal that changed absolutely everything. The core mechanics of this July 20th agreement are actually pretty straightforward, but they're incredibly powerful. The finalized language explicitly restricts the president, the vice president, and members of Congress from issuing, sponsoring, or profiting from digital assets while holding office. Boom. In a single day, that one simple provision completely neutralized the corruption argument. The exact weapon being used to stall the bill was suddenly just taken off the table. Now, what's really interesting about the slide is how neutralizing that ethics scandal provided something absolutely crucial in Washington: political cover. Moderate Democrats, folks like Ruben Gallego and Angela Alsobrooks, who had actually supported moving the bill out of committee earlier, now had a safe, highly defensible path to vote yes on the final floor without facing massive backlash from their own base. And Kristen Smith over at the Solana Policy Institute completely validates this exact strategy. She noted that an ethics agreement gives Gallego and Alsobrooks the cover they needed to deliver Democratic votes. So that impenetrable 60-vote wall, it wasn't just broken. It was quietly opened from the inside by handing the necessary moderates exactly what they needed to comfortably cross the aisle. Let's jump to Section 4, rewiring the financial system. It's time to look at the true stakes of this legislation.
let's move to and see how this builds the true foundation of the U.S. regulatory framework. It's essentially operating on two distinct pillars. Step 1 was the Genius Act of 2025, which already locked in the rules for stablecoins. And keep in mind, that's a market now worth over $300 billion. Step 2 is the Clarity Act, which finalizes the market structure for basically everything else. Put them together, and they form a complete, permanent regulatory package.
And the word permanent here is absolutely key. Think back to March 2026, when the SEC and CFTC took administrative action to classify 16 major tokens as commodities. Sure, that was a win, but administrative actions are super fragile. A future SEC chair could literally just reverse them with the stroke of a pen. The Clarity Act takes that temporary classification and locks it into permanent, unchangeable statutory law. It removes the regulatory overhang once and for all. To really see how the market is totally blind to this, look no further than XRP. After its commodity classification ended years and years of legal limbo, it triggered a massive $1.44 billion in ETF inflows, and yet the price of XRP remains incredibly depressed, just hovering right near $1. Why? Because the market knows that WIN isn't legally locked in yet. They're sitting on their hands waiting for the Clarity Act to make it permanent. And frankly, the United States doesn't have the luxury of time right now. Zooming out to the global context, jurisdictions like the EU, whose MiCA framework has been in full force since late 2024, already have over a year's head start on us. Places like Singapore, Hong Kong, and the UAE already have crystal clear licensing regimes. The US is actively bleeding top talent and massive liquidity to these regions. Passing this act is basically a desperate grab for global competitiveness to stop that bleeding. Which leads us to Section 5, the August 7th deadline. This is the ticking clock heavily pressuring DC right now. Just look at this timeline. The ethics agreement was signed on July 20th. Late July has been completely eaten up by wordsmithing the final text, and the Senate recess, that begins on August 7th. You're looking at a shrinking 14-day working window to get this whole thing done. I mean, the timeline is so incredibly tight that top White House crypto advisor Patrick Witt actually deferred his military training for a second time just so he could stay in DC and finish negotiating the bill. Now, to be fair, the market skepticism isn't entirely baseless. There are absolutely real hurdles left to clear. For one, the final text still isn't fully public. Furthermore, there's a massive enforcement gap waiting on the other side of this. The SEC currently has 2 vacancies, and the CFTC has only 1 sitting commissioner. So even if they manage to pass the law, the regulatory system is currently hollowed out and waiting to be filled. But the stakes of missing this specific deadline are just astronomical. Senator Cynthia Lummis issued a pretty stark warning. If this bill slips past the August 7th recess, the legislative window for comprehensive digital asset regulation might not reopen for an entire decade, 10 years. This is quite literally a now or never moment for the industry in the United States. So the crucial point is this. The market's 60% blind spot exists precisely because of this incredibly tight timeline and the lingering closed-door negotiations. If passage were completely guaranteed and signed today, the market would have already priced it in at 90%. But the foundation for a steady, structural bull market is being laid right now, in the dark. The uncertainty you're seeing in those 40% odds, well, that's exactly where the opportunity lies. Which leaves us with one final provocative question to chew on. Will the market wake up before the August 7th window slams shut? The 60-vote wall has been quietly opened from the inside, the ethics roadblocks have been completely neutralized, and the rewiring of the financial system is currently circulating in text form. We are witnessing a massive regulatory breakthrough hidden in plain sight. The only question is, will the rest of the world realize it before it's too late?